everybody. We're back here with Major Garrett. Now, in the press conference, he mocked many members of the GOP who lost.
Yeah.
You've been to a lot of these press conferences after elections. Is that common for the president to mock members of his own party?
So this whole line of questioning about common experiences,
Yes.
presidential press conferences, and the Trump administration, I really do have to put that in a completely different category. So no, it's not common. It's entirely uncommon and unusual. But if you know how much this particular president despises losers, it is completely consistent with his personality and his approach to not only talking about himself, but talking about people who do not align themselves with him. They're obviously wrong because they lost. That proves my point. That proves I am the central figure in American politics, so he would say. And when you're the central figure in American politics, you can call somebody a loser and not suffer any consequences.
Well, he is the central figure in American politics. I mean, there's no escaping that.
There isn't.
I mean, there's no getting off Mr. Trump's wild ride.
Exactly.
Until it's over.
And in the book, we talked about Sessions a second ago. In the book, I recount on May 17th, 2017, the day that Robert Mueller was named special counsel, Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, resigned at the White House to the president. And I recount in kind of interesting detail, I would suggest, how Reince Priebus, the then chief of staff, had to chase through the White House out to the West Executive Avenue to climb into the SUV holding the Attorney General and plead with him to come back in the White House, unresign, and put the cork back in that bottle for some period of time because he didn't want to have a dual crisis of a special counsel and a resigned Attorney General all in the same afternoon.
Well, that brings me to another interesting data point about this, is that the letter, as released today, where Sessions resigns, isn't dated. Is there any chance that this is just the old letter that Trump hung on to? And they just went, and Sessions never even gave it to him and just said, guess what? Surprise.
I write about that in the book. There was this period of time where he gave him an undated resignation letter. It said, fill in the date yourself.
Whitaker, the guy who's been put in there as
acting, and it's an interesting
General.
in-between space because he's not Senate confirmed to anything.
Right, the Senate has never said boo about him.
No,
he
is like a placeholder,
out of one of the rallies and put him in there.
So, and this is a vacancy act legal question. The Senate hasn't confirmed him. How can he run a cabinet agency?
Especially one that is investigating the president of the United States.
But any cabinet agency, but especially that one. When Loretta Lynch stepped down, who was the acting Attorney General? The Deputy Attorney General, Sally Yates.
So it's not Rod Rosenstein because Trump also hates Rod Rosenstein.
Doesn't want to have him in that position. So this is not just, well, what is he going to do? But can he actually do this?
What's it like to be in the room for one of these press conferences, especially today, which may not be the most bombastic or the most...
It's the most bombastic of my career.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely.
Today, even covering Trump?
As far as press conferences go, yeah, we had like 3 or 4 throwdowns in the first 2 or 3 rows.
Peter Alexander stood up for Acosta. Was that the right thing to do? Should reporters do that for each other?
That's another thing.
Or is it every man for himself?
Look, that's another thing that's completely different in the Trump era. Historically, it's all one man, one woman for him, herself. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. I'm just going to try to be as competitive as I can in that environment, get my question, get my answer, and that's it. Now, because there is a collective sense that the president is not play acting with his attacks on the media, and maybe means it, and those of us who attend rallies know his supporters react to it, sometimes in ways that are so hostile as to make us concerned about our own physical safety, that there is a more of an impetus to sort of lock arms just a little bit and say, Mr. President, if you're going to come at us that aggressively, we are going to lock arms because collectively the First Amendment is what unites all of us. And in the room and in the moment, we at least have to express that to you and have you take it seriously.
Well, Major, thanks so much for being here. Mr. Trump's wild ride.